Hey there, everyone. Welcome to another Friday night chat with Bobby Legs and friends, uh, joined by Crispin Cole's Laundromat. Marcus, how are you this evening? What's going on, buddy?
Oh, tired. Almost didn't make it,
Yeah,
but I
and
had to talk
but
some hot tea.
yeah, we're definitely gonna talk some hot tea. I love that. We're definitely gonna talk some hot tea. But before we do, what do you have on wrist, man?
Uh, what are the Batman today?
Oh, very nice, very nice. And I got my Submariner.
The
So
Mariner.
two
Cool.
two Rolexes, two great watches on wrist this evening for
Nothing
us
too
to talk.
fancy.
Nothing too fancy, right? But very solid aspirational pieces, right?
Oh,
For a lot of us. Um, let's say hello to the chat real quick, and then we'll do some watch talk. We'll sandwich in some hot tea, and then go back to watch talk. So and hoping that Chaz can make it. I know he's traveling for work, and so we'll see. Um, Joey B is here. What's up, Joey? How you doing? Deech is here. How are you, Deech? Good to see you. Bill K is here. What's up, Bill K? Kevin S. Hey now, how are you? Guys, let us know what you're wearing on wrist. James Duffy is here. Happy Friday, watch people for sure. Justin, strapped in, of course. Hobby Bobby's here. Great nickname. BJ is here. How are you? Kevin S. Father of Dragons. That is Marcus there. Uh, glad that Bobby paid an appearance. But yeah, to get Marcus in, just a little hot tea and watches. I think that's all it takes. Um,
that's true.
Wave Penn is here. Hi ho ho, still rocking the brand spanking new Grand Seiko Peacock. Congratulations. About time. Thank you. Wow, awesome, Karan. Thank you. I really appreciate the super chat. That's so very kind and generous of you. Thank you for joining us this evening. Amin is here. Hey, Amin, what's going on? Mez9 is here. What is up, buddy? Um, yeah, you've been wearing it all week. Excellent. Very good. Time Hill, Steve, how are you? Good to see you. Hey, there's Wilson. One of these days, right, Wilson? Brendan Nelson's here. How you doing, sir? Um, hey, Thomas Burnett, what's going on? Good to see you. Kevin is wearing his Seiko SPB 313 on wrist. Ken Spear checking in from Pittsburgh. What's up, Ken? How you doing? For you to join us. Scott's here wearing his new Pelagos 39. Awesome. And Walter is here as well. So, I wanted to discuss with you guys um, some some really good deals that I've been seeing out there on online, and one in particular, and it's really boggles my mind where this is at. This is a watch that is being auctioned off on the website Loop This, and I don't know if some of you guys may or may not be familiar with Loop This, but it is an online auction site. And you can see bids here, of course. And I wanted to talk about this watch in particular. Seems to be a favorite, Marcus, within our little group here.
Yeah,
We
for
know
sure.
several people with this watch. And just to give a little bit background on Stefan Ketelars, I guess he's an independent watchmaker, right? This is not even his career, I think. I think he's an engineer, and he is mostly self-taught, and he's putting together these amazing pieces um, that have huge waiting lists now, right? Like a year or two now for to get one of his
That's assuming you
watches.
can even get on the waiting list.
Oh, that's right. That's right, right?
I
I
I
mean,
sent I sent him an
yeah,
email like I think it was last year, right? Amin would try to sort of help me get in and
yeah.
with some ideas, and I couldn't even get like he sent me one message back. He said that's a cool idea, and then I haven't heard from him since.
Yeah, yeah. So, and look, I mean, he's a young guy, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I think he's in his 20s, right? And so, at the start of a career, and like, this is a potential budding superstar here, right? Like, this is where we get into the conversation. Some people say, like Waco from Revolution, that Etienne Malik from from Baltic is a hot new star, upcoming new star. Well, I beg to
Yeah,
differ,
sure.
right? I mean, this is
It just seems like a new Waco.
yeah, yeah, yeah. This this is one of the new stars, right? If he keeps
Yeah.
at it, right? And so we have one of his pieces. Now, his pieces, I think they start off like with like the like base models like around 6 or 7K, and then you add some other features, and it gets the price can jump. And you have one of these Ketelar's 3D Terra Emotions, and it's on loop this here for right now it's 3,000, and you got 5 days on the auction left, and it just boggles my mind. It boggles my mind that it's only at 3,000. This is easily a 10, 11, $12,000 watch. Um, and I don't know. I don't know. I think it definitely needs some more love. And if you're looking for something and want to avoid right the long wait, this may be an opportunity. Hey, Amin, how are you?
Hey guys, good. How are you doing?
Good, good. Speaking of Ketelars, yeah, Amin has a Ketelars. Um, how do you how do you feel about your watch, about your Ketelars?
Oh, I think it's very special. You know, um, one of the things Stefan spends about a month on each watch, like per watch of
Yeah,
his time, right? He's making about 12 watches a year, um, which is incredible.
yeah,
Like he does this miniature hand painting on the globe. He heat blues his own titanium hands. He hand finishes his own cases. He figured out how to do this frosting technique on the bridges. He figured out how to do this really wide anglage. I mean, I could go on and on. He figured
yeah,
out how to do the movement modifications to put the time on a satellite and to reverse the balance wheel and put on the dial side. So I think it's you know one of the best, one of the most special watches to me, and a tremendous value.
yeah, yeah. And this particular watch has like the full frosted movement package, right? So it's not just
Yeah.
your base
Yeah.
one. I mean,
It's
it's got yeah,
basically same options that I got.
yeah.
Yeah.
So new pallet bridge and anglage, frosted movement, polished jewel and screw pockets, black polished screws, sunburst ground,
These picks
wind
I
gears.
think are not,
Don't do it
unfortunately,
justice.
not doing it justice.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think
so
the dial
just
side it does. The dial side pictures are pretty good. I think it's
Yeah.
the movement side pictures.
Mm.
yeah, can I
Because
pause these pictures as okay, I could do that.
you kind
Yeah,
of do
I can.
capture the depth, right? And that's kind of
Yeah.
you want the sort of the and that's where you don't mind the watch being too thick is when you can see the depth of the dial, right? The
Mm.
components stacked on top of each other.
Yeah.
It's really it's a 3D sort of visual experience almost looking at that dial.
Yeah.
Um, for this, I think it's yeah it's a crazy price if you think about it. Like this is not to denigrate the watch itself, but I think a lot of the stuff that we said last week on the Rebel stream about the Delta works sort of this is writ small, right? If you think about the wait list involved with this, if you think about sort of the inflationary pressures on just any general market, you're looking at you can't get on a wait list. If you were to buy this watch, who knows whether you can't even get on the wait list, and when you do get delivered, what is it going to cost to buy one new, right? I can't imagine he's going to keep charging whatever he was charging
Yeah,
for these
Yeah.
before, and I don't think he's even making this model anymore, right? He's gone with going in house and whatnot. So this is like one of the OG Ketelars.
This is the same. My watch is the same configuration, so you can see a lot of depth here,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
And here's a little bit of a closer movement. Um, I don't know if it's showing well here, but you can see the frosting and how wide the anglage is. It's easier to see on a phone, but yeah, I agree with everything Marcus is saying, and it's it's not the same kind of like very polished technique like a Gronfeld. I mean, it's one person who's teaching himself
yeah,
watchmaking, right? So it's not as refined,
yeah,
but um So it's a different kind of value that you're getting.
Yeah,
And you're
it's
getting the value of knowing that this is the guy who's sitting down and doing it, right? There's no team here.
Yeah.
You know exactly who did it.
it's sort of imperfectly appealing. This is a
Yeah.
true École watch, right? Like
Yeah,
when Laurent
exactly.
Ferrier comes out and they're trying to create the aesthetic of an École watch. This is a true École watch.
Yep.
And this is a homeschooled École watch.
Yep.
So I think it's a unique piece that's not going to come up, and I think if I were a richer man with more disposable watch budget, I'd probably be looking at it. Though I'm holding out hope against hope that sort of Stefan will indulge me in the future about my design that I've broached with him and which he's
Yeah.
not
I love that
revisited in
idea.
our conversation.
Uh, yeah. Like
S-
he built his own CNC machine, and I bring that up for two reasons. One is to say, like, he does use CNC, right? It's you don't want to it's not you don't want to have the
Yeah,
illusion that he handmade a watch from scratch. At the same time, there's more time spent doing hand stuff on this than almost anything that you'll get for any kind of reasonable money.
yeah. And think of all the watches, like with the price inflation. Look at all the watches that are going in that range, sort of the 3 to 5K range. Like that's a lot more watch than what five
oh
three to
yeah,
five K buys
yeah,
nowadays.
absolutely.
Scott's asking, comparing quality of RGM versus Breguet. Um, there's some similarity to what we were just talking about, right? So RGM is a very small operation, very few people involved in the parts that involved hand finishing. Um, so you can see unevenness. Like for example, RGM has much broader anglage than Breguet, but it's uneven, right? It's like you can tell a human really did it, and somebody who doesn't work on as many watches. I mean, Breguet, it's no Rolex, but they make a lot of watches. I mean, compared to RGM uh, or way more than Kettler's. Um, so I don't know. I appreciate them in different ways, but they're both very high quality. But the Breguet is, I mean, the guilloche is probably more intricate. That you don't find as many imperfections on the Breguet as you do on an RGM, but that's part of the charm. Again, I think that you can really see that somebody really worked on the RGM. So I like them both.
Yeah. Joey B saying it's an amazing watch to own. I take mine out in regards to the Kettle's on special occasions. Anglage finishing is on another level. Um, excellent. Okay, so we're gonna sandwich in some hot tea right now, and then we're gonna get back to some deals. Crispin. So, all right, we ended episode three, right? Damon or I mess up the names all the time. Okay, he goes through and Bravehearts the Crab King, right? Like that whole scene, like he
Yeah.
just basically takes everybody out, right? Fast forward to episode four. Okay, and we're in the Iron Throne
Well, don't
chambers, right?
don't don't
Yeah.
don't don't forget that he sort of, I don't know what metaphor you want to use, but whether you want to use the buzz the tower or you want to go just the tip, but you've got the dragon getting very very close to the ship.
Right, right.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Basically.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
Dragon comes
So
very, very close. Yeah.
that's the first instance where sort of Damon shows a blatant disregard for Rhaenyra's safety, and she ends up
Hmm.
in the arms of Kristen Cole. Right.
Right.
That's the first time.
Right.
Not the only time, but the first time.
Right. Right. Very true. So we're in the scene. She's getting proposals, right, from the lords of Westeros.
Bachelorette
For,
Westeros. Yeah.
yeah. Some older guys, a little kid who ends up like gutting somebody who's making fun of him. Right. That was
That
actually
was
pretty cool.
wild.
That was pretty wild. And then you have her uncle, um, coming into town, right? This is after all that, right? Comes into
Mm.
town, and has an audience with the king, basically, right? And comes in, and you think, what is he doing, right? He throws the sword. He's like, here, add it to your throne, and then you see him, he's wearing a crown, whatever crown that is, and he's been given the moniker of or announced as king of the narrow sea, And so you have an interesting scene right there, right? Right, Marcus?
Yeah,
What is he gonna do? Like, the king is like, "Oh, you're a king now," you know, and so Damon, is it Damon? Am I saying it
that's
right?
Damon. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, Damon. Damon, shows some respect, says the crown is yours. But you kind of feel like there's a whole lot of tension there going, right? I mean, they're setting us up, right? Right, Marcus, don't you think?
Damon shows he can play nice when he wants to,
Yeah.
for sure.
That's why you like him so much, right?
Yeah,
You're a Damon guy,
I'm a
aren't
Damon
you?
guy.
Yeah.
I, I,
Um,
I will say this though. So like if you look at it, right, Damon would have made a terrible king. Um, Rhaenyra would also have made a terrible queen,
hmm,
and Rhaenyra would potentially make a terrible queen. And it's here's I've been thinking about this. If you look at the Targaryen kings up until Viserys, right? It's how they choose to utilize their power because they've basically got we live in a world where one country has access to nukes and that's it,
yeah,
right? That's the world Westeros
right,
lives in.
right.
So you've got six kings. You've got Aegon the First, you've got Aenys the First, Maegor the First, um, and then you've got Jaehaerys and Viserys. So that's five, I guess. Um, of those five, two of them have shown the ability to enact soft power. So like you've got the nuclear deterrent, but you're not going to use it. Your ability is to sort of convince and sort of cooperate with, right? So we've got Aegon and we've got Jaehaerys. They never said I'm gonna burn your keep down. I'm never gonna slaughter all your small folk, right? Aegon paraded with his dragons, went from castle to castle. And Jaehaerys, again, when he had one of when the older Baratheon, so the father of this series' current Lord Baratheon, sort of semi rebelled against the Iron Throne, and then Jaehaerys forgave him, but then he was surprised that he was forgiven, and then Jaehaerys just walks him by his dragon and just tells him, "My dragon grows bigger and bigger. I don't need
Hmm,
any hostages from you." Right, so
yeah,
that's soft power.
yeah.
Then you've got the weak-willed, spineless kings who are just indecisive and get taken advantage of, and you've got that's Aenys and Viserys, right? They're indecisive and they neither want to use their dragons as soft power or to burn down someone's keep. And finally, we've got Maegor, who literally burned down the Great Sept, right? And I think Daemon would be a Maegor. He might
Hmm,
not be as cruel. He might not be as impulsive as Maegor, but he would be a Maegor. I think he has no ability to use soft power,
yeah.
and that's the same as Rhaenyra. If you look at her, she's got no idea of diplomacy. She's got no idea of soft power. She's willing to sort of burn bridges. We saw that last episode when she was far from diplomatic when dealing with the courtly ladies, and now we
Hmm,
see again when she's rebuffing the suitors. Right,
right.
so. Um, that's something to look forward to going forward, I guess, and something to keep in
Um,
mind.
and Thomas has got a question for you. Thank you, Thomas, for the super chat.
I did.
And there it is.
And it's beautiful,
Thank you.
stunning.
Let's do a solo layout there on the real quick.
Thank you so much.
Awesome, excellent. Congrats again.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's talk about like the big elephant in the room of that episode, right? Um, Damon sneaks away, or Rhaenyra sneaks away with Damon into Old Town, and they go bar hopping. They go to the different clubs, and then they go into they have this interesting scene with each other, a scene that we kind of saw this coming with the tension. There was definitely some sort of like weird incestual sexual tension between the two of them, and then finally we see something happening here, right? And you know, almost uncomfortable, right? A little,
It's a little
I would say
uncomfortable.
a little went too far. We got the idea, right? We totally
Mhm.
got the idea. Um, and and then then you see Damon like quote unquote pull out. I mean, I don't know what happened there. Um, I don't know if you had mentioned when we were talking like maybe his ED was acting up, or
Yeah.
I don't know if that was that, or maybe some sort of guilt. What do you think? What do you really think happened there, Marcus?
Um, it depends what you think about Damon. Um, there, I think there's two bad explanations and one semi-noble explanation about what happened. Um, Explanation number one is he just literally had ED, right?
Yeah,
He just can't perform.
yeah,
We saw that in we saw that in episode one.
yep.
Number two is that his misogyny got in the way. He didn't like the fact that she responded to him. He wanted to have
Mm,
power over her.
mm.
He wanted her to feel threatened, and he wanted to be in charge of the situation. When she turned around and reciprocated, he was unhappy with that, and that sort of ruined the moment for him. Okay, so I think those are the two bad situations with Damon. The semi noble one is that he sort of backed away because he actually does have romantic feelings for her, and it's like he's already achieved his end of having them exposed, um, and he decided, and then he didn't want her first time to be like that, right? He's already had her seen in the brothel. That was his sort of so he didn't have to actually go through with it, and that's kind of what happened.
Okay, so we have some what the F's going on here. Yeah, we're talking a little House of Dragons, and then we're gonna get back to Watch Talk. But Justin says he uses soft power all the time. Ask my lady friends. Okay.
If you're using soft power all the time, you're not having that many lady friends.
Um, okay. This is what happens in Old Town, right? Okay, so so whatever happens or doesn't happen, and Rhaenyra is like, having a WTF moment, like what's going on, right? And then she goes back to her place, and then I guess whatever kind of frustration sexual she was feeling at the time, she basically used her guard, right? Her Queen's Guard or future or Knight's Guard, whatever, whoever he is, right? And so you got that dynamic going on.
Can we point out that that guy's a psychopath? Like that guy's about to get laid, and he decides to like fold every item of clothing.
Yeah, didn't it? Okay, thank you.
I understand the metaphor. I understand
Yeah,
the metaphor that he's like conflicted and he's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
sort of taking off
yeah,
his duty, shedding his duty and all that. But he seems like a dude that irons his underwear.
yeah, yeah.
In
So
his defense, like if he gets found out, he's dead, right?
That's true.
So,
yeah, pretty
so
pretty
Or
he,
much.
worse.
so he's pretty much deciding like, is it worth dying to get laid here?
Yeah, yeah, and at the same time, he feels like compelled to do whatever Rhaenyra tells him to do, right? So yeah, so a couple things dragged out a little bit, probably like this segment, but it was the scene with Daemon and Rhaenyra dragged out a little bit longer, and then this whole like removing the clothes kind of thing. That kind of was like, okay, all right, let's move this on a little bit. You know what I mean? Um, anyway, so the hand of the king, he's got his people, spying and basically report on what they see. That little kid reports when they see the hand of the king, and the hand of the king confronts the king and lets him know. The king probably, reacting the way he did. Um, um, and rightfully so, um, while not denying or trying maybe to deny, what's the word I want to use? Trying to, I'm drawing a blank here, what I'm trying to say, but not acknowledge what was happening between his brother and his sister, maybe, and his daughter, but seeing through the hanging of the king and saying this guy has also a motive here, which he does, right? He does. He wants his grandson to be king, right? So. what do you think is going to go on? What do you think is happening there, Marcus? I mean, do you think this guy's Hand of the King's days are numbered or gone? I mean, he's
Well,
done,
they're
right?
done, right?
He's done, right?
They took away they took away his pin, so he's done.
Yeah. But
Right?
I mean,
There
like,
was a quid pro quo.
yeah,
I will marry the sea snake's son if you get rid of Otto. So
yeah.
he's done.
Right, but I mean, is it? I mean, look, I haven't read the book. I don't know. Does he come back into the picture? I mean, does he come back? Does he kind of like switch sides here? This Hand of the King. Does he try to exact revenge for losing his position? I don't know.
He's going
Y-
to continue to seek to advance his family and his
yeah.
bloodline.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Anyway, so the king confronts his brother, and then his brother has this interesting. Demon has this interesting proposition. Why don't you just marry Rhaenyra's and me? Why don't we just get married, right? He doesn't deny also that he had this encounter, right? Which Rhaenyra totally denied in front of the king, right? Totally
Yeah.
denied this encounter, right? What was
Well,
the
she didn't deny in
motivation?
front. He always wanted to marry her,
Mhm.
and he wanted her to be perceived as. So he wanted to go back to the fact that the Targaryens no, and this is why he's Maegor again, right? He wanted to go back to the fact that the Targaryens have no accountability. At least with Jaehaerys sort of made it legal for Targaryens to marry each other, but now Daemon just wants to be unapologetically Targaryen, in spite and just flout it um, in the face of the rest of the Westerosi, right? So he wants to go back to the time where, in his mind, the best time was when we had dragons and we ruled through fear and intimidation, and we can do whatever we want.
Yeah,
And I think Viserys didn't do whatever he wanted, and again, Jaehaerys chose to be a partner to his lords, but Daemon does not want to be a partner.
yeah,
And so by having him marry Rhaenyra, that brings back the fact that we do not need allies, we do not need the great houses. We will
mm,
just
mm,
intermarry and rule with our dragons.
yeah.
Right.
So, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So this is why but this is why Damon's like literally the best character on the show, is because he's drunk, he's hungover,
Yeah,
he's lying on the floor the entire scene, he's being kicked, he's being yelled at.
yeah,
He's had a dagger put to his throat, and he's in moral control. He's in total control of the situation versus his brother. That's why
right,
Damon's the best.
right. Good point. So now the king basically tells Rhaenyra, okay, you no longer have a choice, right? You're marrying Corlys's son, right? Who, I mean, we saw this kind of coming after a couple episodes from a couple episodes ago. Kind of like you feel like this connection is going to be made to join the powerful families of the realm. And the episode ends with a little, as Mrs. Legg says, um, little Plan BT, just in case,
I'm just
right?
gonna say one really quick thing about Plan BT. Are we sure it came from Viserys?
Well, I was thinking that too. I thought it
It's
was maybe
yeah.
like, this guy's trying to poison her.
No.
Uh,
Are we sure it came from Viserys and it wasn't like it wasn't an entrapment, it wasn't a sting operation by Otto or even Alicent?
so, so the thinking of it that way, so then their motivation will be what? To catch her drinking the tea?
Yeah, because if you look, like that was the big thing with Marjorie, right? When we had Game of Thrones, it
Yeah,
was she was witness drinking getting having the tea made for her, right? So her accepting the tea implicitly is sort of um is her accepting that it happened.
yeah, yeah. Um, I mean, how would they know unless they had somebody spying in on her? But it may be true. I mean, like, we don't know. We don't know at this moment. Um, so interesting. Anyway,
You
um,
could say she just thought it was tea. I mean,
yeah,
they didn't say like this will get rid of the baby.
It's true.
right. That's true. That's true.
All right, we better get in 10 minutes of watch talk before I take off,
Okay.
Hmm.
before
Okay.
everyone gets
All right.
antsy.
Well, excellent. Next time, hopefully, we can get Chaz here with us. Um, he's much more knowledgeable, and I feel like I could definitely hang with you, Marcus. I try my best here. I hadn't seen the episode in a week, so I
That was
kind of like
pretty good, Rob. I gotta
forgot a little
say,
bit.
you had a good memory.
Thanks.
Marcus, in addition to just having a different kind of brain, also has read the books. Like you haven't read the books, right?
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
haven't. I haven't
yeah.
read the
I
books.
was impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last book I read was Paw Patrol. That
Nice.
was the last book I
Nice,
read.
nice. Classic.
So that's where I'm at. Okay. Anyway, thanks everyone for hanging in there. I know there are some Hot Tea fans out there, and I hope we got some of you guys some fix there. With all due respect, maybe time to consider a separate stream for the Hot Tea talk. Okay, Bill. Fair point. Fair point. Bobby, don't read. Yeah, maybe it was chamomile. For sure. Last book I read was Sam I Am. That was the second to last book I read, Wilson. Thank you very much. Anyway, I want to get back to talking to some deals. I saw some really good deals. One of our favorite places to see some good watch pre-owned deals is Toppers. And I saw a couple things today that I thought were very interesting. And I want to get your guys' take on it. Let me share my screen here. Let's get to the toppers. And um, I don't know what's wrong with me. So a couple of watches that caught my eye. I saw let's see if I can find it, of course. Um, a Longines Zulu time for right here we go for 24.99, and then you take the 10% off, and what is that? What 22.50 for
What
a
a sticker on that,
watch.
3,000.
Stickers around 3,000
Yeah.
Hmm.
for a watch that's in pretty good, very good condition. 94
Oh,
for
not sold out, huh?
Toppers.
Still there?
It's still here. It's
Mm.
still amazingly it's still here,
Yeah.
right? Um, I think I've heard people getting 20% off new. So that would put you down in this range here for after Stuba with the discount. You're at 22.50.
Mm.
Free shipping. They don't collect tax. If I think
Mm.
if you live outside of California, um, I thought it was a great deal, and I'm surprised that it's still there. Um, what do you guys think?
I think it's a great watch for the value, even at retail, but this isn't that much less than you might be able to get, buy a new one. So I can,
No, and that
yeah,
and that is true.
yeah,
I think with the new it depends on if there are supplies, or if there are availability, you
yeah.
know. But Dib's here. Hey, Dib. I'm
Yes.
in a scale of 1 to 4 sombreros. What would you give this deal?
Oh, me?
No, Amin.
T- two and a half.
2.5. We're gonna go three. We're gonna round up.
Okay. All right.
Three sombreros for Amin. Marcus, do you want to play along?
Sure.
How many?
I've got a Longines guy, so I'll give it a two.
Okay, two,
Two
two,
sombreros.
two sombreros. Dib. Um,
I have a Longines person too. So, two.
two sombreros. Okay,
I mean, I can get 30 off. So,
Yeah.
okay. Fair enough. So not necessarily a bad deal, but not necessarily a great deal when it comes to compared to a new one. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Um, another watch I saw in here, and I'm kind of partial to it. Um,
Don't get me wrong, it's a great watch. I think
yeah,
I
Yeah.
think Joey B is always saying it's the best release of the year. When you factor in cost, strong argument.
yeah. A watch that's kind of I've found a little hard to find, hard to get, right? I mean, you can order this variant from the website to sell. The Panda a little bit harder to find. The PRX, 97% condition. $1,300, 1170 after the discount. Um, what do you guys think? I think this is a great deal. Dib?
I think that's a good price. I thought that was a bit hyped up, but then people realize it's a lot bigger and thicker. I think it's like 15 mil thick. So, like the price is good, but only for the right wrist.
Yeah, yeah. How many sombreros do you think, Deb?
I'll just give it 3.
3 sombreros. Wow,
My
excellent.
God.
Um, uh, Marcus, any thoughts?
I don't love this watch.
Okay,
Yeah, so I know people do.
yeah,
One sombrero.
one sombrero. Um, Amin, any thoughts on the
I'm gonna go two
go to?
sombreros. Yeah,
Okay,
I like
okay,
the
yeah,
watch. Yeah,
yeah.
for a chronograph, I like the watch.
Not bad, not bad. Not necessarily to so weightless, Kevin, but I know um the panda, the black, the white dial,
Yeah, like if
is a
you walk
little bit
into a
harder to
Tissot
find.
AD, they might not have it.
Yeah,
They might have
yeah,
to
yeah.
order it in for you.
You're right,
I think that's as close to a weightless as Tissot is going to get, though.
right, exactly, exactly. Um, Dib, anything else seem to you like a screaming deal on the release today?
Uh, I got one, but that was, an act
Well,
of God. So
well,
we
yeah,
You
I didn't. I
actually
mean, I
bought a
didn't want to
watch.
bring that up, but I mean, if you want to bring it up, that's fine.
now
Okay,
it's all good. People don't need to know.
okay,
They had a Tudor Ranger for 2600 minus the 10% on a strap. Now again, like I'm not a big fan of that watch. I like it, but I don't think I'd buy it. So that's a decent price.
yeah, that's sold already.
Yeah, it's sold.
Yeah,
Um, the Seamaster 300, that's a new release. That like with the discount, go down on the right. Yeah, it's 5 grand, so that's like 4,500. The retail is 65. That's a decent price, but this is not the hot model, so I'd wait for it to go below 4, which is
yeah,
where it'll land.
yeah.
But not a bad price by any means. Like it's literally 4 months old, so 3 months.
Hey, Sanjay's here, like Corolla weightless.
Yeah,
Marcus, why
exactly.
don't you like? Kevin saying, I don't love this watch. Marcus exercising his quiet power. KRJ PRX are nice, but no integrated bracelets for me. No love for the gold-plated Brian May Seiko 5. Come on, guys. Uh, I don't get that watch. Just like I don't get like how people go
That's like
apes
the
over
Nicolas
the.
Cage of the Seiko 5s.
Yeah, right. That's a good one. And people love this Rowing Blazers Seiko 5. I don't get that either. Um, this watch always is on toppers, I feel like, and it's always one of the first couple to sell, maybe because of the price point and the different colored bezel. I think people are into that. Up the pre-owned Tudor Royale, the Sanjay Special, um, for 1800, so 1620. Um, not not bad. Um, Scrolling quite along here. Um, yeah, I mean, those pretty much the Tissot and the Longines for me were the ones that screamed um, decent deal. You could have gotten a Tudor Black Bay GMT here, an 89%
Oh,
commission for under 3 grand.
I literally almost fell asleep when you said Tudor Black Bay GMT. Like it's getting late.
So Toppers has the Ming 3705 moon phase. It's sold, but I think it like somebody returned it, so it's back up. Um, that's a
Is it
decent price.
Is
Uh,
that on the first page, Dib, or
no. It's on like the third or fourth page.
uh-huh,
Let me see. Uh,
third
it's
here?
on the third page.
Or I could just go Ming, right?
So that's a good price. Like it's around 57.
Yeah.
Retail was 52.50. So you're just paying a $500 surcharge. I think that's good. I know people who have bought it for 7,300 ish. So in that respect, that price is good. The blue
Wow.
and the burgundy, not so much.
No.
No, those are bad prices.
This El Primero still seems to be a little bit high, right? At 5,500,
That's way too high.
5,400. Yeah.
I paid 48.50 for mine plus
Hmm.
tax.
Yeah.
So
See, that's
Yeah,
the
that's
thing
way
with
too high.
toppers. Sometimes, you run into some, pretty good deals, I think, and then sometimes they just seem to be way off base, and I just wonder why. I wonder if they just not, if they don't understand this model, um, and its
I think
resale.
that Mido Ocean Star is a decent price considering it's sold out. Like if somebody really wanted that watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like as I said, if somebody wanted that watch.
Yeah, that's a watch that I liked when it came out, and I've liked progressively less and the more I see it.
Ah, interesting. Uh, Milgauss going up. That seems like a little bit high now, right?
That's way too high.
Yep.
Way too high.
All
That
right, let
needs to
me.
be at least a grand cheaper. At
Yeah,
least.
and it should be closer to 12 than 13.
Yep.
Nicolas Cage reference is spot on. Thomas is saying the Oris Diver 65 is nice. I like the quarter numerals. Bobby saying Dib knows which page the deal watch is at. Damn, websites can't even hide their deals from Discount Dib.
I'm perusing the page. I have toppers open. That's why.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
there's one more decent price. The Grand Seiko SBGM 239.
What page is
So
that one on, Dib?
third page. It's listed for 5 grand, minus 10%. It has the Hodinky tax on it, but unfortunately that didn't work because it's a Grand Seiko.
This
Go
this one
down.
I'm showing?
Go, no. Go all the way down.
All the way down.
Yep, that one.
This one.
This is a good watch, but I don't like the dial color. It's just 500 pieces. Like if somebody really wanted to, bet their money on Grand Seiko, which is a mistake, but not a bad price.
Is that like a flat blue? Is that what we're seeing? Like nothing.
Eh, I don't know. I'm not as eloquent with words as Marcus, but it's a very like it's a drab blue.
Yeah.
I think our friend Kevin has this, but
Yeah.
it never found a lot of takers when it came out. I mean, Hodinky did the usual, pomp and show, but didn't work. Like they had it in stock, like even like a few months ago.
What do you guys think about the black white birch at 6,900?
Not bad. Get it at 6,000.
Marcus,
I don't think you can get to 6,000.
I have from
No.
Watchbox.
Wow.
I got an offer from Watchbox to buy the white birch for 6,000 with plus tax, obviously. So
wow. Dib, I'm never on your page, says Karen.
yeah, too expensive for me, Karan.
Uh,
Shots fired.
Jason, greetings from Aruba. Um, a lot of those toppers are beat up, especially on the glass. Okay.
It's a used watch. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
If you have that concern, please buy new.
Yeah. Flat Royal blue dial with gray accents, says Kevin on that GS. 6,000, great price. Great price. Yeah. And that's the high beat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a new one. The dual impulse high beat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The high beat, the lowest I've seen is 5,800. Now that was a desperate seller, 6,000. The 5 day spring drive, that's around 65 to 6700.
Yeah.
And that's
Dib,
not, like a Facebook group or anything. I've seen that on Chrono24 with a suggest a price button. So
Dib is like the bane of desperate sellers.
Yeah. Or the saint of desperate sellers, right?
Yeah,
I
that's
mean, they're
true.
desperate, and then here comes Deb, you know?
I just like numbers.
Yeah.
That's about it.
We've been saying that the Hodinkee Grand Seiko is really dull. They had one at the boutique, and it was there for many months. Kones get a white birch at 6K and then sell it 3 weeks later. Just didn't bomb with it.
Exactly. Be like me.
Dib knows the price where he can enjoy a watch and get out without a loss. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Or with a loss that he can,
10%.
live with.
Offset. Yeah. Yeah.
That's my,
Yeah.
That's your threshold of pain when it
yep,
comes to,
not
yeah,
more than that.
yeah. What was the biggest loss you took on a watch?
Black Bay
11%?
58,
Oh,
almost 18%. Um,
the blue?
yeah, that I think that's the biggest one.
Yeah. Was that the one that had the bad juju or no?
No.
No,
Bad
okay.
Juju was Christopher Ward.
That's right. That's right. What was your biggest windfall from a sale? Percentage wise, it doesn't have to be you don't have to give me a dollar amount.
Percentage wise, 250%.
Okay. I would imagine that's more of an affordable piece then, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
obviously.
Yeah. Wow, man. You're just are you gonna get back into that? Like you were
Maybe
prolific
not. I mean, it's difficult right now. Like,
to sell,
hmm,
right?
it's difficult to sell. The market has slowed down considerably, and people want great prices, just like I do. So I usually don't lowball people. Like if like I bought this Ming for like $50 less than what the guy asked, but his price was low. I don't like lowballing, and I don't
Yeah.
lowball other people.
Yeah.
I know if I like if I can get it, fine. If not, but right now selling is a bit tough. Like it's easier to kind of um, Karan, I'll lose. You're tougher than me. I'm a lightweight.
Yeah,
But
I would love to see that video as well.
I would watch that.
I would watch that in a second. You know what would be like really good? Like if they did like if we got the audio of that and did like a cartoon. You know what I mean? Like a cartoon Dib and a cartoon Karan.
I'm not really a great negotiator. I know the price for anything, like anything I might buy. If it's an offer, I'll offer close to it. If it's a yes, then I buy. If not, move on to the next piece.
Yeah. The saddest with Dib said he lost 18% is palatable to us listeners. Yeah. Amin, do you ever sell anything?
I do. The longer that I have collected watches, the less I sell per year, and I almost exclusively trade into dealers instead of private selling. Every once in a while I'll private sell, but mostly I trade into dealers for the safety and
Yeah.
convenience.
Yeah.
Which means
Marcus,
I take a beating. Like Dibs, what did Dibs say? He lost 18%.
yeah.
You know,
It's routine for you.
I'm taking heavy
Yeah.
casualties.
Marcus, you're not much of a seller. You
I
trade
never
in.
sell, so I never lose.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every once in a while he thinks about selling, but then his better half gives him the wisdom to stay put. Right?
Sort of, yeah. Except when she wants a Cartier Santos, and stuff needs to move.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you choose your watches much more carefully than I do, Marcus. Like I buy like impulsively. Like okay, fine. I bought a watch today. In 5 minutes time, I decided it wasn't for me. I sold it in the next 10 minutes, so it was sold.
Wait. Hold on a second. So you actually physically took possession of the watch today? You bought it and took
Yeah.
physically
Or did you
possession?
just reroute it to a different owner?
Yeah.
It
Like
came in.
redirect it.
it came in today, overnight shipped.
Ah,
In 5 minutes time, I'm like, okay, fine, it needs to go, and then sold it in 10 minutes.
that's amazing. So what are you doing? It's mostly on Reddit at this point, or
Reddit is my good luck charm. Well, till now, what you seek. I
hmm.
don't do Facebook because um, I I don't know. People get crazy on Facebook, and Reddit. I have like a really long history of selling, so I can dictate the terms. I don't like other people telling me what to do. If not, they don't have to buy my stuff. So it's my way or the highway. Because I stand, like I have the most to lose, the watch and the money if something goes wrong.
Okay. See you, Sanjay. Hope you have a good Friday and look forward to your stream tomorrow night. Uh, Karen saying debut mule you. Wow.
Yeah, it's a Seiko, so it's not a very expensive watch.
Yeah, Seikos are nice. They're tempting, right? They're tempting. You can easily buy and sell those. Look, so I've been having some things happening, right? In life, like stuff with the house and whatnot, and I swore off buying watches until the end of the year, and of course that changed today. I put a deposit down on a Zin. So, so on the
Did you
EZM.
really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Please. It
Yeah.
wasn't the fourth 857, was it?
Wait, what?
It wasn't your fourth 857, was it? Or
No,
no?
no, the 856. No,
Yeah,
no,
upgraded.
856.
no, no. I
He
think.
Bobby Legs loves German watches back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I'm done with the 856.
Okay.
Especially since like Mrs. Legs now. I mean, she has one, right?
Yeah.
Let me just share what I picked up. Well, I mean, I put a deposit down because it's not available at the moment, which is fine by me. But I picked up the
Oh,
EZM
wow.
13, and
Nice.
yeah, yeah. So look. I mean, I had a conversation with a friend a couple days ago about you know building a spine for the collection, or seeing like a group of watches as the spine of your collection.
Hmm.
The backbone, and maybe focusing on doing that first. And so that made a lot of sense to me. And so I sold a watch, and I was thinking Speedy, and I still am thinking Speedy. Um, but the EZM 13 is one of those watches. So there's three chronographs that I'm interested to eventually adding to the collection, right? Speedmaster, Man on the Moon, Sapphire Sandwich, right? Um, any, I mean, like I haven't pinpoint exactly which model, but a 41 or 43 millimeter IWC chrono pilot, right? I would love to add one of those into the collection as well at one point. And then this watch right here, the EZM 13. Um, those are the three chronos that I want to add.
And at
And
Daytona someday.
I mean, that's not even part of I mean, yeah, of course, but I mean,
Okay.
like, it's not even part of my equation, because I just don't think that opportunity will ever happen. You know what I
It'll
mean?
happen. Someday it'll happen. It's not a short-term goal.
Yeah, I mean, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Thomas, thank you for the super chat. Are any of you into other timekeeping devices such as pocket watches, stopwatches, clocks, marine chronometers, etc.? I have three cuckoo clocks. Um, Black Forest, Germany, section of Germany, cuckoo clocks, and they've been gifts from my wife. They bring my grandmother in West Virginia had a cuckoo clock, and I was always fascinated by it when I was a little kid, and I've always wanted to add one, two, three, or whatever hundred. And so like my wife was, on Father's Days or birthdays, she'd get me one, and so we had three, and right now three is good, and I really really love them. So that's what I have, Tom. Any of you guys, anything else? Any stopwatches or pocket watches?
I'm not cool
for
enough to have one of those.
no, no.
I don't. I've looked at pocket watches just
Yeah.
to. I've heard many times that you can get certain types of complications and things like that for less money if you look at
Mm,
pocket watches, but
yeah, yeah,
I haven't really seen that, come across that, like nice examples of things that I'd want to get.
yeah. You did anything like that?
I already don't have a lot of friends. I just don't want to announce to the world that I'm an Uber nerd by buying those.
Okay, okay, fair enough, fair enough. Neil says a dealer I went to gives 38% off full retail on trade. Does that sound low? So 35% of that of the full retail is what he offers on trade.
Depends how.
Depends on the
That does.
watch,
Depends
It
but
on the
depends on the watch.
watch.
That does
Yeah.
sound low though. I think probably 45 to 55 if you're getting it on trade value and it's a relatively new watch with, complete box and papers.
Yeah.
So you
But
want,
it does depend on the watch.
yeah. If it's really toxic, if it's like a UN or something with complications, yeah, probably 35. It might be doing you a favor.
I had a conversation with someone, and now I'm a chrono guy. Well, look, I mean, Kevin, if you
Kevin's
there's
busting a lot
I
of
know, of
busting
course,
balls
yeah.
constantly this
There's
today.
His
there's
game
no
is really strong today. His
Yeah.
yeah,
busting
yeah. I
balls
mean
game is
that
pretty strong.
Yep.
that's not an incorrect statement. I mean, like those things happen. I had a conversation with someone, and now I'm a chrono guy. Two different things. But yes, I mean, I guess if you put them together like that,
I don't know if it's the
sure.
same someone, but I was talking to someone today who had me thinking about possibly going in a Breguet, you know, 5, 6 Breguet sub collection today.
Yeah, yeah. That might be the same person. That's
I
He
feel
was
like
like,
if you
you
have
know,
5 or 6 brigades, it's no longer sub collection. It is your collection.
he's
yeah,
like, you
That
know,
you want to sell off.
if you're gonna get that one, you should know that you're kind of stepping into you know, a direction that you're gonna have to follow. I was like, he's probably right.
yeah, yeah. And is that something that is a possibility for you though?
It's an
I mean, like,
outside possibility.
yeah.
So there's this someone selling a 7147 enamel Dial Breguet at a low price in one of the groups, and so I was thinking if I were to get that, and that would be something where I'd probably look at trading some things. Then it's sort of like I'd want I think a tradition,
Hmm.
Breguet tradition, because then I'd kind of like I'm like almost covering the bases,
Yeah.
Yeah. And
See,
then
you could.
possibly a chronograph, although I really don't like chronographs.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Except for some reason IWC.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, you have a pretty diverse collection as it is, and you have numbers, right? Um, where if you made a trade for that Breguet and gave up a couple watches, but you still have a lot of non-Breguet watches.
But
You know what I mean?
I'd lose some. The way the person who I was talking to put it is you'd sort of lose the whole collecting whatever you like, and then you're more kind of a Breguet collector, which I would have other things too. But what I'd probably have to give up is the Octo and some other thing like that not costing as much, like a Tudor, and uh, the Octo and the Tudor would probably get me that Breguet.
But
It's crazy what you can get a brigade for these days.
Yeah,
yeah,
It is crazy.
but
yeah.
I mean, so like, if your collecting window was another year or two,
Mm,
right? And and after 2 years, you never get a new watch or buy a new watch or trade for a new watch ever again,
yeah.
then I would say, yeah, you're kind of like in a slippery slope of becoming like a Breguet collector.
Mm.
But you're a young guy. You still got plenty of you're in like the middle innings here, right?
I
Early
hope so.
middle innings, right? Right.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. We're just
yeah.
playing the numbers, right?
Right.
You're in the early middle innings, right? You're in the middle innings, right? So you got plenty of time to be both a Breguet collector over the next decade or two, and still buy what you want. You know what I mean? So like I see like that Octo and that Tudor as, if I can get that if you really love that Breguet
Mm,
and you love that brand,
mm. I
just
kind
do
of
it,
love the
man.
Octo too, though. Yeah, that's
Well,
what makes it harder.
that's a
Yeah,
different story
yeah,
then,
that
right?
makes it harder. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Sorry, I
so
didn't mean to
yeah.
hijack
No,
your
no, no,
Chrono
please.
Yeah,
Draft
thanks.
conversation here,
I
but
gotta
I
take
think
No,
off.
we got
see you,
okay.
Marcus.
Okay,
But
Marcus,
I
thank you.
think
Thanks for joining.
I really think we probably did talk to the same person.
No, no, we
And
definitely did. No, I know. I heard that conversation
oh,
and I'm like,
okay,
oh, here
okay,
we go.
okay.
Here we go. Tom saying the Breguet collection will be my ideal collection, the 7147 Grand Feudal, and with the sub-seconds at the 5 o'clock is my favorite at the moment. Um, Scott saying I am now thinking of trading my Omega and Tudor in cash for Breguet.
I actually think Breguet might be catching on a little bit.
Yeah.
Like
Well, you
I
are an
feel
influencer,
not
so
not me, but I think they're held back a little bit because people lump them in with as Swatch Group. I think this holds back more multiple brands. Is that people just lump them in under this Swatch Group category and don't think of them like Longines doing fantastic, but if it was its own completely its own company, I feel like it would be even more like appeal
yeah.
because people would identify themselves as a fan of like one brand instead of this part of a conglomerate. And I think if Breguet was fully independent, even if they're doing the same watches and the same thing, I think they'd get more um, more appeal. But I think they're catching on.
But so like I think you're correct in a certain extent, and Deb, chime in and I'd love to hear what you have to say about this. But I think like people who are in the know or who obsess about watches are really the only people who really care if Longines is in the Swatch Group or Breguet is in the Swatch Group, right? I mean like your average person who might be interested in Longines going to a department store doesn't know that, right? And someone who maybe is looking for a high-end high horology piece and maybe but is not really into watches per se like as we are may see Breguet as does they don't care if it's in the Swatch Group or not,
Maybe.
you know I think Breguet just lacks advocacy,
Mm.
these days. Just there's nobody beating the Breguet drum loudly, and maybe you're the guy. I mean, like um,
The other thing is, people like sport watches more.
Mm.
that's true,
Like
right?
Breguet's, like 90% of Breguet is dressy pieces, and not a lot of people are into those. I mean that's why you can get watches which are 32 grand for 18 grand, like the next day.
Mm,
Like I think it's the mindset of the watch collecting society as a whole. Like where you find value in a watch, someone might say, hey, that's a boring watch. Or I mean, anyhow, like most people who have 300 millimeter, 300-meter submariners, they're going to the grocery store and coming back and taking a picture. But it's the mindset, right? Where oh, you know what, like it'll get wet, or like it's too delicate. The funny thing is, like 30, 40, 50 years ago, almost everybody would have a mechanical watch, and they do pretty much everything with a dressy piece. Like going back to the 1950s, how many watches were actually sporty watches before the dive watch boom came into being? Like if you think like that. So it's more of a mindset.
mm.
And I think the other thing where people say, oh, like the Swatch Group doesn't give Breguet that much like attention or publicity, so to speak, is the mindset of these old brands, where I'm not going to advertise it to you, you're going to come to me, you know but because you are the discerning collector, you know more about me, so I don't have to do the work. But That being said, in my city in India, I have seen ads from Breguet, and I can handpick people who can buy Breguets in my city. Like
Yeah.
maybe 500 people at best, like even like a base Breguet. So the advertisement is there, but it's not in your face like, oh, Omega with the Speedy or Rolex with the Sub, you know. And I think that is good, just because like I don't want a brand like this to be advertised in every corner.
Mm.
Longines definitely, because that's a volume seller. You need to move pieces. But even if Breguet sells 80 pieces a month, they are still going to make profit on those, just because the entry price is much higher. You know, so it's not about quantity but quality. And like let's say, like 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 how Patek, like people can't get simple color travas anymore. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
ridiculous. Like they used to sit in cases like 2 years ago. I went to Vegas, saw them sitting in the cases, and obviously I wasn't offered a discount, but you would get them.
Yeah.
Now with people not getting the standard Pateks, so they're like, okay, let me get a simple color Trava just to move up the list. I don't want that to happen to Breguet. Like I don't own a Breguet, but the brand really has a soft spot for me. So let it be the way. I mean, anyhow, the brand isn't suffering. Like the good thing about being with a big, like conglomerate like the Swatch Group is, if there's a lot loss here, you're going to make it up with, like selling a bunch of other watches, so they can continue to do what they do best. You know.
Scott saying my issue with the Breguet is I also have a love for higher end Cartier too. Can only have so many 10K plus watches for sure. BJ saying I think Blank Pain is in the same boat. Orange Hand Swatch Group definitely takes the shine off many brands, except weirdly Omega doesn't suffer from it. Thomas posing the question: would you sell a Rolex Kermit that you don't wear for a Breguet 7147? Dib.
No.
Amin.
It's like complicated. I feel like to get a Rolex Kermit, if you're talking about the new one, you have to like, you know, try to get one. I'm assuming you're buying one at AD, and then like the effort you put in to get one, I would feel like I was being deceptive if I then flipped it for a Breguet 7147. So I wouldn't for that, probably for that reason. But if I had a Kermit fall out of the sky in my lap, I would flip it for Breguet 7147.
BJ waiting for the Breguet and Swatch collab.
I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think BJ's kidding.
Speaking of dress watches, so I hardly ever see anybody wearing dress watch, like a nice dress watch. But I had a meeting with a guy at work today, and he was wearing a hobnail Calatrava. It
Oh,
was super classy. Like it looked really good. I don't know if it was yellow gold or rose gold, and it wasn't the brand new one. It was maybe like previous generation, but man, it looked good.
when you see one of those in person, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh man, I want one. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I never felt that way about Patek until like I saw one in person. I'm like, ah, you
Yeah.
know, I
Yeah.
kind of I would take one in a
It looked
second.
good.
Yeah. Um, well, folks, 10 after 10.
What about Bobby
Yeah.
Kumar with his yellow gold purchase? He looked at any just a simple Calatrava? Would that be a yellow gold consideration for the goat?
Well, it'll have to be because Breguet and Blanc Pain boutiques closed here in Miami.
Yeah, see, I worry about Breguet a little bit.
You don't think they're gonna? They wouldn't. I mean, like
I don't know anything
Swatch will
about the
float them.
industry.
I think like what Breguet probably needs to do is, and again, like I'm not advocating for the brand, I'm a nobody. Their biggest sellers, at least the cheaper ones, which appeal to people, is the chronograph, the Type 21, and the Marine. Now, the new Marine design,
Hmm.
I've held one in person. it never makes me feel like, okay, fine, let me get the credit card out and then
Yeah.
negotiate with the AD for a discount. The old one, definitely, it had a old world charm to it. The new one is just a hodgepodge of design ideas, and like they have it in titanium, white gold, like rose gold, multiple, like materials, but nothing appeals to me. Like the new 5817, like that entire line, I don't know what they're doing, man, and I don't know if they're a big seller or not. But that's something where, like, every, like, if you count, like, let's say Mercedes, like Mercedes has the top end, like the Maybach, like the cars, they have the S classes, they have the E classes, but like, for example, Europe, they have A classes, B classes, all these volume sellers. Like, even for a rarefied brand like Breguet, you need one or two volume seller, which kind of helps you move it along.
Hmm.
So something definitely, like to consider, because I've seen the older Breguet Marine prices shoot up. Like, they used to be 8,500. Now I can't find Amin's Breguet for 11,500.
Yeah.
3K jump on a Breguet is not, not to be scoffed at, because they are toxic. you know so just shows the how popular the older model is compared to the new one.
Yeah.
you know? Like,
Good.
I
Well
mean,
said.
100%, like, in India, like, I went back in December, saw the same watch in the same exact position in the Breguet boutique. Went back in August, saw the same watch in that exact position. They hadn't even moved it, so it did not sell. And typically in a place like India, where the rich prefer precious metals over stainless steel, except Rolex, those sell out fast. Like, people just go in, they don't have a lot of idea about watches, and you know, okay, so I'm wrong. Mr.
I'm
Goldstein.
glad to hear it. I hope they're I feel like at least in our group they're catching on. I mean, we got um two people got 7097s, another one's thinking about it. Um
Hey, Karan, you could have shut my speech a long time back, but instead you just, made me talk, and then, like, oh, I sold seven. Come on.
We like hearing you talk though, Deb.
we do. We do.
No,
I
but I mean, Karan is an AD, so he knows how many he sells. So definitely, if that's picking up, I
but I
mean,
think your points are still well made, Dib, you know.
I'm happy for Breguet, because I really want to get the 7027, like, not the new one, because the new one is a little bigger, and due to the lugs, it just sits wrong on my wrist. But the older one is excellent. So
I think the tradition line is is taken off. At least, look, I don't know anything. I mean, Karan could tell us which ones he sold, which seven. But uh, what I see is people really interested in the whole tradition line. So you like the 7027. I see people liking the 7057, a little bit bigger, 7097 or the retrograde seconds. Um, the my AD has one of the fuse and chain tourbillon traditions. It's just so awesome. That watch is amazing. Um, yeah, yeah, that's really taken off. I actually thought about that one pretty heavy before I got this classique, but this one's a little more me, you know.
And
you
we like
epi-
it when you stay true
you
to yourself.
epitomize that classic that you got. Like, I cannot imagine you with a different watch. Like,
Thanks.
if I saw you, like, I'm a watch person, and I see you from a distance, 100%. You know,
Wilson with the question, Karan, have you sold more Breguet or Aquaterra this month? Aquaterra being one of the more,
Good
yeah, but
question. One
it's
of
a
the
good
more.
question. It's a good question. It's a good question, Wilson. You know, would love to have you in the stream asking yourself, but that's never gonna happen. Anyway, guys, 10:15. I gotta go. Wake up really early. The kids, they don't care that I stream at night. They still wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I will be waking up with them. Uh, Dib, Amin, thank you so much for joining. Marcus as well. Chad, thank you for hanging in for the hot tea talk. Yeah, maybe we'll give it a break for a couple weeks, um, for sure. But or maybe not. Anyway, uh, um, uh, have a good night, guys, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Take care.
Good night.
Good
See
night.
you guys. Bye.